Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we turn our gaze toward Japan, where the land rises in quiet majesty to form its most enduring symbol, Mount Fuji. As the evening deepens, imagine standing at the edge of a still lake. The sky above is soft with twilight, painted in fading shades of indigo and rose. Reflected upon the water, taller than all else, is the mountain itself. Its slopes are dark in shadow, its summit crowned with snow, glowing faintly beneath the first stars of the night. Fuji is more than a mountain. It is a presence, a spirit, a companion in both story and silence. For centuries, poets have written of its grace, artists have painted its form, pilgrims have walked its paths. To stand before it is to feel both small and sheltered, humbled and uplifted, as though the mountain were a guardian watching quietly over the land. This evening we will journey into Fuji's many faces, its sacred spirit, its history of devotion, its place in art and myth, its forests and seasons. We will walk slowly, with reverence, allowing the mountain to reveal itself at its own pace. And though we share this journey together, I wonder, where in the world are you listening from tonight? If you feel moved to share, you may leave a quiet note in the comments below so that our resting places may connect across the earth. And if you wish to return, you may gently subscribe to The World Asleep, where each story is crafted to carry you into peace. Now, let us begin beneath the shadow of Fuji. Chapter 1: The Sacred Mountain. Imagine for a moment that you are approaching Japan from the sea. The air is cool and the horizon stretches wide. Slowly, a peak rises into view, perfectly symmetrical, its slopes sweeping gracefully upward, crowned in white. Even from a distance, it commands attention. This is Mount Fuji, or Fujisan, as it is respectfully called in Japan. Fuji does not dominate the land with harshness. Instead, it rises with elegance, its cone-shaped form almost too perfect to be real. On clear days, the mountain appears to float above the clouds, an island in the sky. On misty mornings, it vanishes completely, hidden from sight, reminding us that even the grandest of presences may choose moments of quiet retreat. Fuji is not only a mountain of beauty, it is also a mountain of fire. Beneath its calm slopes lies a history of eruption and creation. Its last eruption, in 1707, blanketed towns with ash, reminding those who lived nearby that this serene giant is alive, shaping the land even as it slumbers. Geologists trace Fuji's form through layers of older volcanoes, each eruption building upon the last, sculpting the cone we see today. And yet, standing at its base, one does not feel fear. The air is clear, the forests dense and green, the lakes reflecting light like mirrors. The mountain feels eternal, though science tells us it is still young, still growing, still shifting. Fuji wears many faces. In summer, its slopes are lined with trails, the paths of pilgrims and travelers. In autumn, forests at its base glow with red and gold, the leaves framing its form in fiery color. In winter, it is silent, wrapped in deep snow, its summit glistening beneath the stars. And in spring, cherry blossoms bloom, petals drifting like soft snowflakes, a frame of pink and white around the mountain's silhouette. Each season transforms Fuji, yet its essence remains unchanged, serene, graceful, steady. The people who live nearby look upward and see not only weather and stone, but a companion, a presence that anchors the horizon. For centuries, Fuji has been more than a landmark. It is revered as sacred, a dwelling place of kami spirits or deities in the Shinto tradition. Shrines dedicated to Fuji's spirit stand at its base, and pathways lead upward, marked by red torii gates. To pass beneath them is to enter not merely a mountain, but a sanctuary. In Shinto belief, mountains are often seen as the abodes of the divine, places where earth and heaven meet. Among them, Fuji holds a special place, the highest peak in Japan, a place where the spiritual and the physical are closest. To climb, Fuji has long been understood not only as a physical act, but as a pilgrimage, a journey of purification and devotion. Buddhism, too, embraced the mountain. Pilgrims saw its summit as a step closer to enlightenment, a symbol of transcending earthly desires. Monks meditated in its forests, seeking clarity in the hush of its slopes. Fuji became both path and destination, a mountain of the body and a mountain of the spirit. Fuji does not belong to one city or one region. It rises from the heart of Honshu, visible from Tokyo on clear days and from distant shores across the bay. It is as if the mountain watches over the land, a guardian seen from near and far. Poets have often described the comfort of its silhouette. Farmers look to Fuji for signs of weather, travelers for orientation, artists for inspiration. Its presence is both practical and spiritual, both compass and companion. At night, standing at its base, one feels the immensity of its shadow. The stars shine above, but the mountain blocks part of the sky, a dark, towering shape that feels both protective and profound. To rest here is to feel the weight of ages, the patience of stone, the quiet strength of earth rising toward heaven. Close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting beneath its slopes. The forest is quiet around you. The air carries the scent of cedar and pine, cool and steady. Somewhere, water trickles, a stream born from the mountain's snowmelt, feeding the land below. You breathe slowly. The ground beneath you is firm. The mountain rises above, vast and unmoving, and in its presence, you too feel still, your thoughts quiet, your body softens. You realize why generations have come here to pray, to meditate, to seek something larger than themselves. Fuji does not speak in words. Its language is silence. Its teaching is patience. It does not rush. It does not demand. It simply is present, enduring, eternal. And in its quiet presence, you find a reflection of peace within yourself. Mount Fuji is Japan's highest peak, but it is also more than geography. It is an image that has traveled across the world, appearing in art, literature, and imagination far beyond its slopes. It is often said that to see Fuji is to see Japan itself, harmony, resilience, beauty, and transience captured in one form. And yet, Fuji is also personal. For every pilgrim who climbs its trails, every artist who paints its form, every traveler who gazes upward, the mountain becomes something unique. It is a mirror reflecting the hopes, fears, and dreams of those who stand before it. For you, in this moment, lying in rest, Fuji is a guide, a reminder of stillness, of strength, of quiet presence. And so we have seen Fuji as a sacred mountain formed of fire, clothed in seasons, revered as divine. But to understand its spirit fully, we must walk its paths, join the pilgrims who have climbed its slopes, and feel the devotion carried in every step. Let us begin the ascent, lanterns glowing faintly in the night, torii gates marking the way, as we follow the pilgrims into the heart of Fuji's spirit. Chapter 2: Pilgrimage and Devotion. Imagine yourself standing at the base of Mount Fuji as twilight fades into night. A red torii gate rises before you, its wooden frame silhouetted against the sky. Passing beneath it, you leave the ordinary world behind and step onto a sacred path. Lanterns flicker along the trail, their light soft and golden. The air carries the scent of cedar and pine, mingled with the faint smoke of incense drifting from a nearby shrine. Pilgrims walk quietly, their footsteps muffled on the packed earth. Some wear white robes, the color of purity. Others carry staffs that click softly against the stones. All are united in their purpose, to ascend the mountain, body and spirit together. For over 1,000 years, people have climbed Fuji not only to test their strength, but to purify their souls. During the Edo period, when travel across Japan became more open, entire communities would organize pilgrimages, sending groups to make the ascent on behalf of all. Those who returned carried not only their own prayers, but the blessings of the mountain for their families and neighbors. The practice was rooted in Shinto belief. Fuji was seen as the dwelling of Konohana Sakuya Hime, the blossom princess, a goddess of life and renewal. To climb her mountain was to enter her realm, to approach her presence with humility. But Buddhism also shaped the devotion. Monks saw the mountain as a symbol of enlightenment, broad at the base, yet narrowing toward the summit, where all paths converge into unity. To walk its trails was to enact the journey of life itself, struggles, challenges, persistence, and at last a glimpse of the infinite. Among the most devoted were the Yamabushi, the mountain ascetics of Shugendo. Clad in white, with conch shells slung at their sides, they sought spiritual power through the trials of nature. For them, the climb was not symbolic, it was direct communion with the divine. They bathed in icy streams fed by Fuji's snows. They fasted among the forests at its base. They blew their conch shells to announce their presence to the spirits. And with each step upward, they shed another layer of worldly attachment, seeking clarity in the purity of the mountain air. Shugendo taught that enlightenment was not found in temples alone, but in the raw elements of nature: stone, water, fire, wind. Fuji, with its volcanic heart and snow-capped crown, offered all of these in abundance. To climb it was to pass through trials of body and mind, emerging renewed. Now, picture the climb more closely. The path grows steeper, winding upward through darkened forests. Lanterns line the way, their flames trembling in the night breeze. At intervals, small shrines appear, simple wooden structures where pilgrims pause to bow, to whisper prayers, to offer coins that glint in the firelight. The air grows colder as you ascend. Your breath rises in pale clouds, joining the mist that drifts among the trees. The sounds of the world below, villages, rivers, human voices, fade into silence. All that remains is the crunch of footsteps, the rustle of fabric, the occasional murmur of prayer. There is no hurry here. Each step is deliberate, each pause intentional. The mountain is climbed not in haste, but in reverence. Along the trails of Fuji are stations, resting places where pilgrims may pause, gather strength, and reflect. At each station, the view expands, offering glimpses of valleys, lakes, and distant lights below. Some stations hold small tea houses where weary travelers sip warm brews, their hands wrapped around cups that steam in the cool air. Others are simple shelters, little more than wooden benches where one may sit and gaze at the stars. The higher you climb, the more the air thins, the more the body protests. Yet this struggle is part of the devotion. To feel the mountain in your lungs, your legs, your bones, this is to let it shape you, to allow its presence to carve away all that is unnecessary. The true goal for many pilgrims is to reach the summit before dawn. After hours of climbing through darkness, they gather at the crater's rim, where the sky is just beginning to pale. The eastern horizon glows faintly, A hush falls across the crowd. Then, slowly, the first light breaks a sliver of gold rising above the edge of the world. The summit glows, the snow ignites with color, and the land below reveals itself in the fresh light of morning. This moment has a name, Goraiko, arrival of the light. It is said to be the blessing of Fuji itself, a gift to those who have endured the climb. For many, it is the most sacred part of the pilgrimage, not the summit itself, but the dawn seen from its heights. In every step of the pilgrimage, the mountain teaches. It teaches humility, for its slopes are vast and unyielding. It teaches patience, for the climb is long and the air grows thin. It teaches reverence, for shrines and gates remind travelers that each step is sacred. And when dawn comes, it teaches gratitude, gratitude for the light, for the land spread below, for the chance to witness such beauty after such effort. Those who descend the mountain carry these lessons with them. Back in their villages, they share not only stories of the climb, but the peace, the clarity, the humility they found upon Fuji's slopes. Even if you never set foot on Fuji, the pilgrimage can still be yours. To imagine its paths, its shrines, its lantern-lit trails, is to walk them in spirit. Every breath you take, every pause in stillness, can be a step upon its slopes. Climbing Fuji is not only about reaching the summit, it is about moving inward toward patience, toward clarity, toward rest. The journey is as important as the destination, and the rhythm of the steps mirrors the rhythm of the heart. Now imagine yourself pausing midway upon the mountain. You sit upon a stone bench at a station, lantern light flickering nearby. Around you, silence reigns, the hush of high forests, the whisper of wind across rock. Above, stars scatter the heavens, brighter than you have ever seen. The mountain looms behind you, vast and dark. The valleys stretch far below, dotted with faint lights from distant towns. You breathe slowly, deeply. You feel both small and infinite, both mortal and eternal. Here, upon Fuji's path, the world feels balanced. Heaven above, earth below, and you, the traveler, poised between them, embraced by both. And so the pilgrims continue, step by step, toward dawn at the summit. Their journey, like the mountain itself, is both physical and spiritual, a movement of body, but also of soul. But Fuji's presence does not live only in footsteps. It lives in brushstrokes, in poems, in stories told across centuries. To understand Fuji more fully, let us now turn from the trail to the page, from the mountain itself to the art it has inspired. Chapter 3: The Art of Fuji. There are mountains in every corner of the world, yet few have entered the human imagination as deeply as Mount Fuji. To stand before it is to feel its pull. To live within sight of it is to see it daily as a companion. Inevitably, artists, poets, and dreamers have tried to capture it, not only its shape, but its spirit. Fuji is not only stone and snow, it is metaphor, symbol, presence, and so it has become one of the most painted, written, and celebrated mountains in human history. In the earliest days of Japanese literature, Fuji was already present. The Manyushu, a collection of poems from the 8th century, contains verses praising the mountain's beauty and grandeur. The poets of that time saw Fuji as a bridge between earth and sky, a place where the human and the divine might meet. One poet described it as a white peak rising to heaven, untouched by time, crowned in eternal snow. Another wrote of its fire, remembering eruptions that once lit the sky with flame. Even then, the mountain was both beautiful and fearsome, eternal and ever-changing. In later centuries, haiku poets like Basho and Issa turned their eyes to Fuji. Their verses were short, fleeting, like the glimpse of the mountain itself through mist. Basho once wrote of Fuji's summit glimpsed through morning haze, a moment so brief yet so complete it contained an entire world of wonder. These poems remind us that Fuji cannot be held in long description alone. Sometimes it is best revealed in a single, delicate phrase, an image that lingers, as fleeting as a drifting cloud. Perhaps the most famous depictions of Mount Fuji come from the Edo period, when artists captured it again and again in woodblock prints. Among them was Katsushika Hokusai, whose series 36 Views of Mount Fuji remains one of the most iconic works of Japanese art. Each print shows Fuji from a different perspective, sometimes dominant, sometimes distant, sometimes framed by everyday life. In one, the mountain rises serene above a turbulent sea, fishermen battling waves in the foreground. In another, it appears small in the distance, while great pines or travelers fill the scene. And of course, there is the most famous of all, the great wave off Kanagawa, where a towering wave curls above fragile boats, and in the far background, quiet and eternal, Fuji waits, unmoved. The genius of Hokusai was not only in capturing the mountain's shape, but in revealing how it lives alongside human life. The mountain is constant, yet each person, each season, each vantage point changes its meaning. Utagawa Hiroshige, another master of ukiyo-e, also devoted series to Fuji. His 100 famous views of Edo often framed the mountain within scenes of daily life in the city. There, Fuji became a companion to the people visible from bridges, temples, and rice fields, a reminder of beauty beyond the bustle of the world. Fuji appears not only in poetry and art, but in story. The oldest surviving Japanese tale, the tale of the bamboo cutter, tells of Princess Kaguya, a celestial being who must return to the moon. Before leaving, she gives the emperor a letter and a vial of the elixir of immortality. Heartbroken, he climbs to the highest mountain in the land, Fuji, and burns them there, so that no one may live forever without her. From that moment, the smoke rising from Fuji's peak was said to be the fire of that letter, still burning, still carrying her memory into the sky. The name Fuji itself was sometimes linked to the word fushi, meaning immortality. Though linguists debate this, the story reveals how deeply people connected the mountain with themes of eternity, longing, and the divine. Later writers, too, described Fuji with reverence. In travel diaries, it was praised as the highlight of long journeys. In essays, it was used as a metaphor for endurance, for beauty, for the fleeting nature of life when compared to the seeming permanence of stone. What makes Fuji so captivating in art is its paradoxical nature. It is vast, yet delicate, eternal, yet ever-changing, distant, yet intimately present in daily life. One day, it is clear against a blue sky, sharp and distinct. Another day, it hides completely behind clouds, as if withdrawn from the world. Sometimes it gleams with snow. Sometimes it glows red at dawn or dusk, a phenomenon known as akafuji. Sometimes it reflects perfectly in still waters, doubling its beauty, making the world seem like a painting within a painting. Artists have tried to capture these moods, knowing they can never capture them all. The mountain is inexhaustible, infinite in variation, a muse that offers something new with each glance. Imagine yourself not as a painter or poet, but simply as an observer. You sit by Lake Kawaguchi, one of the 5 lakes of Fuji. The water is still, reflecting the mountain so clearly it is hard to tell which is real and which is reflection. Cherry blossoms bloom along the shore, their petals drifting on the breeze. Some fall into the lake, floating gently across the mirrored surface. The scent of blossoms mixes with the cool air from the mountain. Somewhere, a bird calls, its song high and delicate. You look upward, and Fuji rises beyond all. You breathe deeply, and in that breath, you feel what countless poets and painters felt, the desire to hold this beauty, to honor it in word, in brushstroke, in memory. Even today, Fuji continues to inspire. Photographers wait patiently for hours, seeking the perfect moment when light strikes its summit. Writers reflect on its symbolism, its presence in a world that rushes too quickly. Fuji has also become a symbol of Japan itself, appearing on postage stamps, coins, and countless works of modern design. Yet despite this familiarity, it never loses its mystery. To see it in person is always more powerful than any reproduction. The mountain has a presence that transcends image, a quiet gravity that draws the gaze and calms the spirit. For many, painting or writing about Fuji is itself a form of pilgrimage. Each brushstroke, each word, is a step upon its slopes. The act of trying to capture it is an offering, a way of saying, I have seen, I have felt, I honor this presence. And for those of us listening now, even in rest, the same can be true. As you imagine its form, as you hold its image in your mind, you too are engaging in this quiet act of devotion. You are an artist of the imagination, painting Fuji in memory and dream. And so, we have seen Fuji in words and images through the eyes of poets, painters, and storytellers. Each has given us a fragment of its spirit, yet the mountain itself remains greater than all description. To understand it further, we must return to the land itself, not only the peak, but the forests, lakes, and wildlife that surround it. For Fuji is not only a symbol, not only a canvas, it is a living ecosystem, a home for countless creatures, a harmony of earth, water, and sky. Let us walk now into those forests beside those lakes and listen to the quieter voices of nature at Fuji's base. Chapter 4: Nature around Fuji. At the foot of Mount Fuji, forests spread like a dark, soft cloak. From a distance, they appear as a continuous green expanse. Up close, they reveal countless textures, trunks rising tall and straight, moss blanketing stones, roots twisting across the forest floor like frozen rivers. The air is cool and damp, carrying the scent of cedar, pine, and rich earth. Even in summer, the shadows beneath the trees remain deep, a reminder that this is not merely the base of a mountain, but a world in itself. The forests here are ancient. Some trees have stood for centuries, their bark marked by time, their branches reaching upward as though in silent reverence to the peak above. Others are younger, sprung from the fertile soil that Fuji has laid down over millennia. Together they form a living cathedral, pillars of wood, vaulted canopies of leaves, light filtering down in shifting patterns. Among these forests lies the most famous of all, Aokigahara Jukai, the Sea of Trees. Growing upon hardened lava from Fuji's eruptions, this forest is dense, almost labyrinthine. The ground is uneven, carved by ancient flows, hidden beneath moss and roots. Here, sound is strangely muted. The thick trees and porous rock absorb noise, creating an uncanny silence. For some, this stillness feels unsettling. For others, it is deeply calming, a silence that invites introspection, that draws the mind inward. Legends surround Aokigahara, but beyond the stories lies simple truth. It is a place of resilience. Life thrives in conditions that seem harsh, trees anchoring themselves in thin soil, lichens softening bare stone, animals adapting to a world of shadow and quiet. To walk here is to witness the strength of nature, its ability to endure and flourish where it might seem impossible. Encircling Fuji are 5 great lakes: Kawaguchi, Yamanaka, Sai, Shoji, and Motosu. Together, they are known as the Fuji 5 Lakes, a necklace of water reflecting the mountain's form. Each has its own character. Lake Kawaguchi is perhaps the most famous, its calm surface offering the iconic reflection of Fuji mirrored in still water. In spring, cherry blossoms bloom along its shore, petals drifting across the lake like soft snow. In autumn, fiery maples frame its edges, their colors doubled in the reflection. Lake Yamanaka, the largest, lies at the highest altitude, its waters cool and clear. It is a place of bird swans gliding gracefully across the surface, ducks resting in quiet groups, herons lifting slowly into the air. Lake Sai is quieter, less touched by development, its shores lined with dense forest. Lake Shoji is the smallest, but beloved for its intimacy, where the mountain seems to lean close, reflected upon its surface as if whispering to the water. And Lake Motosu, the deepest, is known for its astonishing clarity. It was immortalized on the Japanese 1,000 yen note, its waters holding Fuji's reflection with striking perfection. Together, these lakes create not only beauty, but balance, water complementing stone, stillness reflecting height. To sit by their shores is to feel a harmony as old as the land itself. Though Fuji may seem silent, it is alive with creatures, each adapted to the mountain's varied climates. At its base, in the forests, deer move quietly among the trees. Foxes dart through undergrowth, their eyes glinting in lantern light. Raccoon dogs, or tanuki, wander curiously, creatures of both reality and folklore. Birdsong fills the mornings, warblers, cuckoos, thrushes, owls call at night, their voices echoing softly through the trees. In spring, the chorus of frogs rises from the lakes, a reminder of life's abundance. Higher upon the slopes, life grows sparse, yet still persists. Hardy plants cling to volcanic soil, insects endure the cold winds. Above all, the mountain remains a sanctuary, harsh, yet life-giving, a reminder of nature's persistence. The nature around Fuji changes as dramatically as the peak itself. In spring, blossoms return. Cherry trees bloom near the lakes, azaleas paint the slopes, and the air carries the fresh scent of renewal. Forests stir awake, and animals emerge from winter's quiet. In summer, greenery deepens, the lakes shimmer in the sun, insects hum through the forests, and climbing trails fill with life. The air is warm, yet the mountain's shadow offers cool refuge. In autumn, fire spreads through the trees, not of flame, but of color. Maples turn scarlet, ginkgos glow gold, and the forests become a tapestry of brilliance. The air is crisp, the nights longer, the mountain's crown of snow returning. In winter, silence descends. The forests grow still, the lakes freeze at their edges, and the mountain stands in white majesty. Beneath this quiet, life rests, waiting for spring's return. Each season transforms the land, yet Fuji's presence anchors them all. Now imagine yourself resting at the edge of one of the lakes. The air is cool, the water still, the mountain rising beyond like a guardian in the night. Stars scatter across the sky, and the reflection of Fuji glimmers faintly on the water's surface. You hear the faint rustle of leaves, the distant call of a night bird. The rest is silence, peaceful, enveloping, timeless. The mountain is behind you, the lake before you, the sky above. In this trinity of earth, water, and air, you feel perfectly balanced, safe, held, at peace. What strikes many who visit Fuji is not only the grandeur of the peak, but the quiet intimacy of its base. The forests, the lakes, the creatures all form the roots of the mountain, grounding it in the rhythm of life. It is easy to see Fuji only as summit, as snow, as height, but to know it fully, one must also know the moss upon its stones, the frogs in its ponds, the foxes in its forests. The great is sustained by the small, the eternal is rooted in the everyday. And so, having walked through the forests, listened to the lakes, and breathed the air at Fuji's base, we begin to understand it not only as symbol, but as living presence. Yet, there is more still to hear, stories whispered across centuries, myths woven into the mountain's being. Let us turn now to the legends of Fuji, the goddess in its heart, the spirits upon its slopes, the tales of fire and immortality that give the mountain its eternal soul. Chapter 5: Legends of Fuji. Mount Fuji is not only a mountain of stone and snow, it is a mountain of story. For as long as people have gazed upon its peak, they have woven legends to explain its beauty, its fire, its silence. These tales are not simply entertainment, they are vessels of reverence, carrying the belief that the mountain is alive, inhabited, divine. To listen to these legends is to hear the heartbeat of Fuji. They remind us that while science speaks of eruptions and geology, the human soul seeks meaning, companionship, and wonder in the presence of such a peak. At the heart of Fuji's mythology is Konohanasakuya Hime, the blossom princess. She is a kami of life, of delicate beauty, of fleeting blossoms that cover the land each spring. She is said to dwell within the mountain, her spirit woven into its slopes and snows. Her name means tree blossom blooming princess. Legends tell that she is enshrined at Asama shrines across Japan, the most sacred of which stands at Fuji's base. People pray to her for safe childbirth, for prosperity, for protection against fire and destruction. The story says that Konohanasakuya Hime married Ninigi, a grandson of the sun goddess Amaterasu, but when she became pregnant after only one night, suspicion arose. To prove her purity, she entered a hut and set it aflame. Inside the fire, she gave birth to her children unharmed. The blaze could not touch her, for her soul was as pure as the blossoms. And so, she became forever linked to both fire and flowers. Fuji, with its fiery heart and snow-capped crown, became her mountain, at once fierce and delicate, destructive and life-giving. To climb Fuji is, in a way, to approach the blossom princess herself, to walk in the realm of her eternal bloom. Fuji is also a mountain of flame. Its eruptions shaped not only the land, but the legends told of its fires. In ancient times, when Fuji smoked often, people believed that a great fire spirit dwelled within, restless and powerful. Some said that the smoke rising from the summit was the breath of gods. Others believed it was a warning, a reminder that the mountain must be respected, lest it awaken in anger. One of the most famous legends ties this fire to immortality. In Japan's oldest story, the tale of the bamboo cutter, a beautiful maiden named Princess Kaguya is discovered inside a shining stalk of bamboo. Raised by humble parents, she grows into a woman of unearthly grace. Many suitors seek her hand, including the emperor himself, but in time it is revealed that she is not of this world. She must return to her home on the moon. Before leaving, she gifts the emperor a letter and a vial containing the elixir of eternal life. Stricken with sorrow at her departure, he cannot bear the thought of immortality without her. And so, he climbs the highest mountain in the land, Fuji, and burns the letter and the elixir there. so that their memory may rise with the smoke into the heavens. From that time forward, the mountain was said to smoke with the fire of his grief, carrying her memory into the sky. Even today, the connection lingers. Fuji as the place where mortality and immortality meet, where love and loss are written in flame. Other legends speak of dragons dwelling in the depths of Fuji. Some tell of a great dragon spirit who sleeps within its crater, a guardian of the mountain's soul. Others describe lakes around Fuji as homes to dragon kings, powerful beings who rule the waters, their bodies coiled in the unseen depths. At Lake Kawaguchi, fishermen once told of a dragon rising from the water in a storm, its scales glittering with lightning. At Lake Sai, stories spoke of battles between dragon kings, their fury reflected in the sky above. These tales remind us that Fuji is not only mountain, but cosmos, a meeting place of earth, water, fire, and sky, where spirits of every element may dwell. Along the trails of Fuji stand shrines, each with its own guardian spirit. Travelers believed that foxes, wolves, and birds could act as messengers of the kami, appearing in moments of need. The forests at Fuji's base were said to be alive with presence, not empty but filled with watchful eyes. To walk these trails in ancient times was to walk among spirits. Every stone, every stream, every tree was treated with respect. To leave an offering, to bow, to whisper a prayer, these were ways of acknowledging the unseen, of walking not as a conqueror of the mountain, but as a guest. Perhaps the greatest legend of all is Fuji's eternity. Some believed that the mountain was created in a single night, born fully formed, perfect in its symmetry. Others believed it would never die, that its peak was eternal, its snow unmelting, its presence unshakable. The name Fuji itself has been linked in folk etymology to Fushi, meaning immortality, and San, meaning mountain. Whether or not this is linguistically true, the belief persists. Fuji is the mountain that endures, outlasting generations, bearing witness to the passing of time. What do these legends tell us? They tell us that Fuji is not only landscape, it is living spirit. It is a goddess of blossoms, a fire of immortality, a guardian dragon, a mountain eternal. They tell us that humans, in facing something so immense, sought ways to connect, to honor, to explain. The myths are not distractions from truth. They are truths of their own, revealing the reverence and wonder that science alone cannot hold. And they remind us that beneath every story lies the same feeling, awe. Awe before the fire, the snow, the blossom, the stone, awe before something greater than ourselves. Imagine yourself now, sitting by a shrine at Fuji's base. A small lantern glows beside you, its flame steady in the night. The mountain rises dark and vast above, the stars scattered wide across the sky. You remember the stories, the blossom princess, the emperor's fire, the sleeping dragon. For a moment, it feels as though all might be true. The mountain is quiet, but alive. Its silence holds every tale, every prayer, every breath of reverence ever offered to it. You close your eyes, and the stories drift around you like blossoms on the wind. They do not weigh you down. They lift you, reminding you that to believe, to wonder, is also to rest. And so, Fuji is revealed not only as sacred place and natural wonder, but as a mountain of myth, a peak where blossoms and fire, dragons and eternity all meet. Yet beyond myth lies rhythm, the rhythm of time itself. To see Fuji through the seasons is to see it change endlessly and yet remain the same. Let us walk now through spring blossoms, summer skies, autumn leaves, and winter snows, and feel how the mountain holds all seasons within its eternal form. Chapter 6: Seasons of Fuji. Mount Fuji does not belong to one moment, one face, one season. It belongs to all seasons, to the endless rhythm of the year. Each transformation brings new beauty, new lessons, new moods. To witness Fuji through the seasons is to see the mountain breathe with time itself changing constantly, yet always the same. Let us walk now through the year, beginning with spring's blossoms, passing into summer's clarity, descending into autumn's fire, and resting in winter's silence. The first warmth of spring arrives gently at Fuji's base. Snow still lingers on the summit, gleaming white against the deepening blue of the sky, but the forests below begin to stir. Buds swell on branches. Streams, freed from winter's ice, rush with clear water. The air grows soft, carrying the fragrance of earth renewed. And then the blossoms come. Cherry trees burst into bloom along the shores of Lake Kawaguchi, their petals pale pink and delicate. They drift on the wind like snowflakes, scattering across pathways, resting upon the still waters. Families gather beneath the trees, spreading blankets, sharing food, lifting their eyes to Fuji framed in blossoms. To see Fuji in spring is to feel both beauty and impermanence. The blossoms last only a week or two, fragile and fleeting, yet their transience is part of their meaning. They remind us that nothing, not even beauty, endures unchanged. And yet, Fuji itself rises beyond them, eternal, steady, sheltering their brief lives in its enduring embrace. As you sit beneath a cherry tree, watching petals drift, you feel this paradox, the fleeting and the eternal, side by side, each giving meaning to the other. With summer, the snow upon Fuji's slopes recedes, leaving dark volcanic stone revealed. The air warms, the forests thicken with green, and the mountain calls to climbers. Trails open, and pilgrims ascend by lantern light, their voices murmuring prayers into the warm night. Summer skies are often clear, and Fuji stands distinct against them, sharp and perfect. Clouds sometimes gather at its crown, forming a halo lenticular clouds shaped like discs, giving the mountain the appearance of wearing a hat. In Japanese, this is called kasagumo, the hat cloud. For those who see it, it is a sign of shifting weather, a reminder that even in clarity, change is near. By day, the lakes shimmer with sunlight. Dragonflies dart across the water, their wings catching light like shards of glass. Crickets sing in the tall grass, and the hum of cicadas fills the air, their chorus rising and falling like waves. At night, fireflies drift in the darkness, their glow echoing the lanterns of climbers upon the slopes. To climb Fuji in summer is to test body and spirit. The air thins as you rise, each step demanding patience, persistence. Yet as dawn breaks upon the summit, the effort is rewarded. The sky glows gold, the land spreads vast below, and you feel both weary and renewed, small and infinite. Summer at Fuji teaches endurance. It reminds you that the path is not always easy, but the view from the heights brings perspective beyond measure. As the year turns, summer's warmth softens into autumn's cool embrace. The forests at Fuji's base transform into a blaze of color maples glowing crimson, ginkgos turning gold, pines holding steady in deep green. The mountain itself seems framed in fire, its slopes surrounded by a halo of living flame. The lakes reflect this brilliance. Lake Kawaguchi becomes a mirror of red and gold, each ripple breaking the reflection into shifting mosaics. Leaves drift upon the surface, carried slowly by the water's quiet currents. Autumn air is crisp and clear. The days shorten, the nights grow longer, and the first snow begins to creep back down from the summit. Travelers walk along forest paths lined with fallen leaves, their footsteps soft, muffled, as though the earth itself is cushioning each step. This is the season of impermanence made vivid. The leaves, once green and full of life, blaze brightly for a moment, then fall, returning to the earth. Fuji watches silently, unchanged, yet touched by the beauty of change. To sit in autumn's light is to feel gratitude for the brilliance of the moment, for the cycle that will bring blossoms again, for the mountain that endures through every turning. Autumn reminds us that endings can be radiant, that release can be beautiful, that change itself is sacred. Winter descends quietly, and Fuji becomes a mountain of silence. Snow covers its slopes entirely, a white crown gleaming beneath cold stars. The forests at its base grow still. Lakes freeze at their edges, their surfaces holding ice that glitters like glass in moonlight. The air is sharp, biting at the skin, yet clear beyond measure. On the coldest nights, the stars shine with piercing brightness, as though nearer than before. Constellations wheel slowly overhead, their ancient patterns unchanging, mirrored faintly in frozen waters below. In villages, smoke rises from chimneys, drifting into the still air. Within homes, warmth and quiet companionship fill the night, while outside, the mountain looms vast and silent, a guardian cloaked in snow. Winter at Fuji is not empty. It is full of rest, of peace, of the quiet that allows renewal. Just as the earth sleeps beneath snow, so too may we rest, preparing for the return of spring. To sit by a frozen lake, watching Fuji's reflection in the ice, is to feel time itself slow. Your breath drifts upward, visible for a moment, then vanishes. The silence around you mirrors the silence within. Winter teaches stillness, the beauty of pause, the grace of waiting. And so, the seasons turn. Spring blossoms, summer skies, autumn leaves, winter snow. Each brings its own face of Fuji, its own mood, its own teaching. Yet through them all, the mountain remains unchanging in essence, ever-changing in form. This cycle is not only Fuji's, it is ours as well. We, too, have seasons of growth, of endurance, of transformation, of rest. To watch the mountain is to remember our own rhythms, our own need to honor both change and constancy. As you lie now in stillness, you may imagine yourself passing through the seasons in a single night. You begin in spring, sitting beneath a cherry tree, blossoms falling upon your shoulders, Fuji rising beyond in fresh light. You walk into summer, climbing slowly upward, the air warm, the night filled with the hum of cicadas, the stars bright above. You pause in autumn, resting beside a lake glowing with the reflection of red and gold, the air crisp, the mountain framed in fire. You end in winter, sitting quietly by a frozen shore, the snow-crowned summit gleaming beneath constellations, the world silent and vast. All seasons gather here, within you, within this moment of rest. The mountain is not only around you, it is within you. Its rhythm is your rhythm, its patience is your patience, its stillness is your stillness. And so, the seasons pass, each leaving its mark upon the mountain, each leaving its lesson in our hearts. Fuji has shown us blossoms and fire, clarity and silence, endurance and change. Now, as our journey nears its close, let us gather these threads, myth and history, art and devotion, forest and season, into one final reflection. Let us rest at the mountain's base as dawn approaches, and feel the spirit of Fuji as a gentle guide into peace. Chapter 7. Beneath the Eternal Spirit of Fuji. We have walked together around Mount Fuji in many ways. We have seen it as sacred presence, a mountain of fire and snow. We have walked in the footsteps of pilgrims climbing by lantern light, seeking purification and dawn. We have listened to the voices of poets and painters who captured Fuji in words and brushstrokes, each offering a fragment of its infinite beauty. We have wandered through its forests and lakes, where deer move softly and blossoms drift across still waters. We have heard its legends of a blossom princess, of immortal fire, of dragons in the depths. We have passed through its seasons, spring's blossoms, summer's clarity, autumn's flame, winter's silence. Now, as the night deepens and our journey comes to its close, let us sit together once more at the mountain's base, gathering all that Fuji has shown us into one quiet reflection. Fuji is a mountain, yes, stone, snow, fire, but it is also a teacher. From its summit, we learn humility, seeing how small we are beneath the sky. From its forests, we learn resilience, life flourishing even in thin soil and lava rock. From its lakes, we learn reflection, how stillness can reveal beauty we do not always see. From its seasons, we learn patience, how change and constancy can exist together. From its myths, we learn reverence, that the unseen is as worthy of respect as the seen. From its presence, we learn silence, that not all truths are spoken, some are simply felt. The mountain teaches without words, without demands. It simply rises, steady and timeless, and in its stillness we find our own. Now imagine, for a final time, that you are sitting by a lake at Fuji's base. The night has been long and quiet, filled with stars, but now the first pale light begins to touch the horizon. The mountain's summit glows faintly, its snow catching the dawn before the valleys below. Slowly, color spreads indigo, giving way to rose, rose to gold, gold to clear morning light. The reflection shimmers upon the water, a perfect double image, earth and sky, mountain and reflection, reality and dream. The world awakens, but gently. Birds stir in the forests, ripples spread across the water. Your breath drifts upward in the cool air. You sit in stillness, watching, feeling no need to move. The mountain is not in a hurry, and neither are you. Fuji is not only a peak on the horizon, it is a companion present in silence, steady in its watching, patient in its teaching. It has seen countless generations, countless blossoms, countless dawns. It will see countless more. And yet, though it is eternal in form, it is intimate in presence. For those who live in its shadow, for those who journey to its slopes, for those who simply imagine its form now in rest, Fuji is more than stone. It is spirit, it is presence, it is peace. In its vastness, it shelters you. In its silence, it calms you. In its endurance, it reminds you that you too can endure, that you too are part of the eternal rhythm of earth and sky. And now, as your eyes grow heavy, let the mountain's lessons linger within you. Let its stillness quiet your thoughts. Let its strength hold you in safety. Let its rhythm guide your breath into ease. The mountain does not sleep, yet it invites you to. It rises steady, patient, eternal, while you may rest without worry. You are sheltered here, as countless travelers have been sheltered before. Close your eyes and imagine the snow upon its summit glowing in starlight. Imagine the forests breathing softly below. Imagine the lakes holding its reflection, doubling its peace. All of it, stone, water, tree, sky, gathers around you like a blanket, holding you gently as you drift. And so, our journey together comes to an end. From this sacred mountain, we return to our own rest. Thank you for joining this path, for walking slowly through story and silence. If you wish to return again to other journeys of rest, you may gently subscribe to The World Asleep. And if you feel moved, you may leave a quiet note in the comments below sharing where you listened from, so that across the world we may know how many have rested together beneath Fuji's shadow. But for now, release all thought. Let the mountain remain with you as companion, but let your eyes close, your breath slow, your spirit soften. May your sleep be deep, peaceful, and filled with quiet wonder. Good night.